Most people use Claude like a chatbot. They type in a question, they get a mediocre answer, and they wonder what all the hype is about. You're leaving about 90% of the tool on the table. So in this video, I'm going to show you what you're actually missing. You see, Claude can actually connect directly to your Google Drive, to your Slack, to your Gmail, to your calendar. It can pull real data into a single conversation. You can say, search my Drive for anything related to the Q2 campaign. Check Slack for what my team said about it last week. You can give Claude a permanent knowledge base with your brand guidelines, your SOPs, your templates, your past work, so it never starts from scratch. You can build custom skills that teach Claude exactly how you work. So this video is essentially a full course on Claude. You'll be using Claude at a completely different level than when you clicked on the video. So grab your laptop, open up Claude, and let's do this together. Okay, we're going to get started going through some of the basics of Claude, making sure you have everything set up correctly, your settings are dialed in. If you've already been using Claude for a while, some of this may be a reminder. You can skip to the next section. However, the things I'm about to cover are very important, and I find that a lot of people, even if they've been using Claude for years, skipped over some of these details. So let's make sure that you have Claude set up, your settings are locked in, you're connected to the right places, and this will allow you to get the most out of your experience. So first things first, I want to go to the settings section. And what I'm going to show you is essentially what's called a system prompt. So if any LLM, you can basically tell it how you want it to speak to you. I have not instructed it to speak to me a specific way because I really like the way that Anthropic has programmed it. Now in my ChatGPT, I have some very specific instructions because I don't like the way that it speaks to me. However, what I cannot stand is M dashes inside of LLM's output. So what I went ahead and did is added this. If you want to screenshot this, if you add this to your system settings, it will stop doing M dashes when it outputs text, which I find to be really amazing. You can decide, which kind of font you want. You can decide if you want light mode, dark mode. I always like light mode personally. And these are some very, very basic settings. Now, one other thing to note, we are in the Claude desktop app. So that's why you see chat, Cowork, and code, which is all things we'll be talking about in this course today. However, if you're on the browser version of Claude, which I use a ton, you'll only see the chat version. And that's because Cowork and code need access to your computer to be able to actually run efficiently and do what it needs to do. So the first thing that we're going to really look at here are the MCP connectors. So MCP, Model Context Protocol, is essentially APIs for AI. And if you're not familiar with APIs, it's essentially just it's basically like a plug or an outlet, and it allows one piece of software to plug into another piece of software. MCPs are very, very similar. They're just for AI tools, so don't worry too much about that. This is the MCP connector section. You can see I've got a bunch of things connected here. Google Drive, GitHub, Clay, ExcaliDraw, Figma, Gmail, Google Calendar, Granola, Notion, Slack, Versal, and I've had a couple that expired I might need to update. I have enabled some settings, which we'll go over in just a moment. However, when you go look at the connectors, there's really no end to what you can do. You can plug it in. You can connect it to anything. Amazon Marketplace. That's scary to think about. Hey, Claude, go buy me this. Try not to spend more than $10. That's pretty cool. So the point is, there's so many connectors. And if you're a business, it's in your best interest to be a connector because everyone's using these tools and you want to get more use, right? So you can go through the connector section. All you do is settings, connectors, and just go through it. They've actually added a lot since I last looked at it. This is pretty crazy. So anyways, here's your connectors. Feel free to connect them, whichever ones you want to use. I've connected Google Chrome because Claude can actually take over my Google Chrome session and run it essentially, which is really cool. PowerPoint and Word, highly recommend installing these because it can actually go into your files and your documents and edit them on your computer live, which is really, really, really cool. So connectors are really cool. It looks like connectors are moving to customize. Let's go over to customize and see what's there. So in the customize section, we have skills and connectors. Now, in a later segment, I have an entire segment dedicated to skills, so we won't worry about that right now. But this is basically where you can find all this stuff. Now, additionally, Claude has what is called plugins. And plugins are essentially pre-built skills that do a very specific thing. So this one's called Meeting Prep. Generate meeting prep briefs by pulling context from Gmail, Google Drive, and Notion for any client. So, for example, I could install, I already have it installed, but I could use the meeting prep skill. And what I would do is I would go into, I would say, I have a call with client. I'm not going to expose any clients here, but I would just put the client's name and I would say, please use the meeting prep skill to prepare me for it. Sorry, I can't type. And what it would do is it would go search Gmail, it would search Slack, it would search all the context it has, the history of our conversations, and it would be able to pull out information for my meeting prep. So all you do to basically initiate a skill, please use the insert name skill. That's all you have to do. It's really, really simple. Now let's talk about projects. Okay, projects are very, very cool. So with projects, it's a way to hold context. One of the biggest issues with AI is losing context. And what you'll notice is that the deeper and deeper you go into conversations, the more it will lose the initial context that you had. So a lot of times when a conversation is getting long, I will start a new conversation, refresh the context, and I'll be able to get better output. That's a whole topic for another video, but just understand that the more information, the more text, the more documents, the more whatever, the longer the conversation, the more the AI is going to break down and getting back to you what you actually need. So going into projects. So for example, I create YouTube content. You're watching this now. It's on YouTube. One thing that I love to do when I'm creating YouTube content is go to my YouTube ideation I literally can't talk. Go to my YouTube ideation project. Okay, and from there, what's very cool is I've inserted files, I have system instructions, and I have memory. So my system instructions, you're an expert YouTube scriptwriter specializing in educational value-packed content for B2B and SaaS audiences. Your role is to create fully developed video scripts based on video ideas following a proven agency methodology. So I worked with an agency that does YouTube content. They sent me a bunch of scripts, the way they outline them, and I basically dumped that into my project files. I added these custom instructions, and now all I have to do is type in a video topic. So let's do a full course for Claude. Everything inside of it. If I was to run this, it's going to think for a while. It's going to reference the memories. It's going to reference the custom instructions. It's going to reference the files that we've seen, and that all makes up the context for the output here. So if I went into the regular Claude chat and said, let's do a full course for Claude, everything inside of it, it would say, great, how can I help? What do you want to talk about? But since this is inside of a project and it's steered towards a specific output, it will go ahead and spit out all of the information I need. So I've got the full context in the existing mini course script we built. That one covered 10 chapters. Before I start building, need to nail down exactly what full course means here since we already have the foundation. Also, what's the channel context here? Is this going on Integri, my YouTube channel? And so what it's going to do is it's going to ask me a series of questions that I can answer. And from there, I mean, this is really cool. From there, what it would do is write the script. Now, this will take way too long to explain, so I'm not going to go into it right now. But this is how projects work. You know, another one of my clients is called Resource Hero. By the way, if you use Salesforce, get Resource Hero. It's the best tool for Salesforce. It's not my product, but it's a client of mine, and I love these guys, and they're amazing. But anyways, I am essentially a fractional CMO for them. And what I do is I write a lot of emails every single week, and I like to use a similar format. So once I finally found a format that works for me, I essentially saved the files, the settings, and I can't go into this too much because it's basically proprietary data, but it knows the exact type of output I want. So if I have a topic, I can go into this project, I can type in the topic, and it will spit out an email for me. Usually I'll go back and forth a little bit, make sure I get it locked in, and then from there, I'll be able to spit out that output. I mean, it would take me days and days and days in the past to make this content. Now I can do it in a couple hours, absolute maximum. Okay. Let's go back to the settings. There's a couple other things we need to touch on. So we have, let's see, where are we at here? So let me just walk you through, make sure there's nothing we're missing here. Privacy, usage. So if you want to see how much usage you have, I'm on the Claude Max plan. It's $100 a month. And you can see it tells you your current session, which I believe lasts 5 hours, and your weekly sessions. So I haven't even come close to touching my weekly limit, like not even remotely close. And it actually resets in 6 minutes. But this is where you can really see, you know, how much usage have I used. And what'll happen is you'll notice that you'll kind of bump into some issues where it times out, stops running, and that's because you've hit your limit. So if you're on the $20 Claude plan, you're going to have some trouble there. Very important to understand. There's several different models inside of Claude. Haiku, pretty much never use, wouldn't recommend ever using. Sonnet 4.6 is incredible for just regular usage. However, for me, since I'm on that $100 a month plan, I use Opus every single time. It's the biggest model, it's the most capable model, it's the smartest model, and it's an absolutely incredible tool. I always turn on extended thinking. This is essentially pushing the unit to drive more compute so it can think longer, it can reason longer, and the responses are going to be a lot better. It might take a little bit longer to respond because it has that extended thinking, but in general, I would always recommend having this on unless you're hitting limits and then you want to use Sonnet 4.6 with 0 extended thinking, okay? Now let's talk about the user preferences here. Back to where we started, if you are seeing Claude, for instance, maybe it's using a lot of emojis, it's giving you long answers, you could say, be concise and never use emojis. And it will stop doing that. So every time you put in a chat or in a prompt, it will run through the system preferences to understand what kind of output you want before it actually puts it out. So if you're not liking the output you're getting, you can tweak it until you get to a point that you really want to. Now, one other thing that's worth considering, let's go to artifacts. So artifacts are very, very cool. I have a lot of artifacts, and then there are a lot of public artifacts as well. It's essentially when you create something inside of Claude, you can create a public artifact that other people can use, or it can be private for your own use, right? So, I mean, you can see a bunch here. I mean, these are really cool. They're very wide-ranging. You can go from learn something, life hacks, play a game, be creative, touch grass. I like the Your Life in Weeks one. I think that's really, really cool. Dream Interpreter. But yeah, artifacts are basically things that you create in Claude. You can make them public, or you can keep them private, and you can only use them for yourself. I really am a big fan of artifacts, and I think that it's a very cool tool. Now, one other thing about Claude is there's a very cool feature called research. So this is going to go much deeper. If I'm essentially searching for an answer about something, and there's no clear-cut answer to it, I would do research, and I would say pull a deep research report on topic. And this is going to be much different than a traditional chat output. What it's going to do is it's going to research and scour the internet for 10, 20, maybe even 30 minutes. It's going to give me a full-blown document with the research report and the findings inside of it. And from there, I'll be able to open up that document and I can ask questions about it. I can say, great, based on this, what do you think about X, Y, or Z? And it will give me that output based on the research, not based on its pre-model training, which is really, really cool and really important. Sometimes we need to dive deeper. Sometimes we need to go deep in there. Now, really quick, we have a whole section on Cowork, but basically, Cowork is your assistant, right? It can work inside of your computer. Maybe you have messy files. You can say, hey, go organize these files. I have it to run on autopilot every single morning. It gives me a daily briefing. It's really cool. I have a section dedicated to Cowork, so I won't go into detail here. We also have Claude Code, which is incredible. If you're not an engineer, don't worry about it. But essentially, Claude Code in the Claude desktop app allows you to speak through natural language, English language, and create code. So I can say, I need to build a website about this. Here's the information. Boom, it goes and does it. Claude Code, I highly recommend everyone playing around with it, because it's so powerful, you cannot even believe it. There's also a really cool feature called Desktop. And Desktop allows you to basically speak to your computer from your phone. So if your computer is open and I'm in another state, another country, down the road, it doesn't matter. I can speak to Dispatch on my app, and it can activate Claude Code inside of my computer. Really amazing feature, okay? So this is the basics of Claude. Now let's go ahead and jump into the next section. But if you are setting up Claude, you can always come back here. If you want to improve your experience, you can always come back here. This is the foundational aspect that you need to get everything out of Claude that we will explore in the next section. So let's go ahead and jump over. So last month, I created over 50 pieces of content for my business, and that content generated 5 million views and locked in over $20,000 in revenue. It's funny because a year ago, producing content at this level would have required at least 3 full-time hires, a graphic designer, a photographer, a creative director, probably well over $200,000 a year in salaries, but today it costs me $20 a month. And it's not just generic AI slop either. Everything that I'm producing is on brand, consistent, ready to publish, and it's resonating with the public too the moment it's generated. And the reason that I'm able to do this is because I built inside of Claude using what's called skills. So in this video, I want to show you exactly what they are, demo the ones I use to produce all of this, show you how to build your own so that you never need to hire a creative team for this type of work again, and allow you to free up your creativity. If you add it all up, you are producing content. If you're producing content in any real volume, you're spending at least $5,000 to $15,000 a month on freelancers. And that is before revisions, that is before communication overhead, and the days that you lose waiting for these deliverables. So the thing that I really want to focus on is it's not just about the money, it is about the time. Briefing a freelancer takes 30 minutes to an hour. They deliver in 3 to 7 days. You review, you give feedback, another 2 to 3 days. One deliverable might take a week for you to finish. And so what if you could produce the same quality of output in days instead of weeks? And most importantly, spend $0 doing it. Well, that's what I've been doing. And the tool that makes it possible is something that almost nobody even knows about. So let me show you what's going on under the hood inside of Claude. There is a feature called Skills. Skills are custom instructions that teach Claude exactly how to produce specific types of content to a professional standard every single time. And a great analogy is to think of it like this. If you hired a freelance presentation designer, graphic designer, they have years of experience knowing how to structure slides, choose layouts, handle typography, make data look good. And a skill is essentially like packaging all of that expertise into a set of instructions that Claude follows automatically. So Claude comes with built-in skills for the most common content types. It can create PowerPoint presentations, Word documents, PDFs, spreadsheets, and a lot more. It's all production ready, it's properly formatted files, and you can download them and use them immediately. And where it gets really powerful is you can also build your own custom skills. So if you have a specific workflow or a type of content like I do that you produce regularly, you can basically create a skill that produces that exact output every time. And you can relate to this if you have used AI in the past and you've wrestled back and forth trying to get the same output from before. Now you can just create a skill and it's going to produce that exact output every single time. I've built 5 custom skills for my own business, and I'm going to show you every single one and break down exactly what to do. So first up, I just want to show you the skill section. And as you can see, if you go into Claude and you click settings and you go to customize, it's going to bring you to skills and connectors. Connectors is basically just connecting to external tools. But inside of skills, they have examples, but they also have my skills. So these are the skills that I have personally created and am using to leverage all of these tools. So you can do everything from documents, proposals, reports, SOPs. For me, I do image generation, I do prompt engineering, I do specific content for Mindless, which is my app that helps people stop scrolling. I have a script skill that helps me write scripts for short form videos. And this has cut my workflow down so much, it's actually insane. So the first skill I want to show you is unbelievable. It is essentially a graphic designer inside of a markdown file inside of Claude. And so take a look at some of these graphics that I've been producing for my app. I mean, these are really, really, really good. Your brain with or without screen addiction. Guys, these are all made with AI using Claude skills, and they're getting insane engagement. This is not paid. This is all organic. 1.2K likes, 2.7K likes, 2.3K likes. I mean, that's just a good looking image. And I did this all with the skill. So let me just show you this workflow. Let me go to the NB skill. And so basically what I did was I had to really refine a workflow. And once I finally got the workflow right, all I did was ask Claude, hey, create a skill so that we can replicate this output every single time. And let me tell you, it really, really works. So essentially, you can see this skill. This is what a skill looks like. Claude created all of this based on the workflow that we refined going back and forth together. And all that I have to do is go to Instagram. This is crazy. I just go to Instagram, open it up. I can explore. And all I have to do is basically just find images that I like. And if I find an image I like, I screenshot it. I bring it into Claude. I drop it in there and I say, how can we replicate this for my brand, my business? And it thinks about it for a minute. It gives me options and output. I choose the output. And then I say, great, use the NB skill to create a prompt for Gemini Nano Banana. And then from there, I just simply go to Gemini Nano Banana and I click create an image, and I already have an amazing prompt. I drop the reference file in there. Boom, image created. Truly as simple as that. I mean, unbelievable. It's just, I would have had to pay so much money for this in the past. Now I can just rip out creative after creative after creative. Really levels the playing field for people that don't have a ton of money to invest into their business and their marketing and things like that. Now, another skill that is really important is prompt engineering, because prompts are not as simple as one might think they are. A lot of people think they use AI well. You would be amazed at the quality of output that you get if you were able to prompt correctly. So let me give you an example. I am making a video on how to write good prompts for Claude. Can you please use the elite prompt skill to give me a prompt so I can have Claude write a script for my video? And for this, I'll use Opus because it's the most powerful. It's going to think about it for a minute. This is obviously like a very basic rudimentary example, but the point is I just want to kind of show you how it works. So it's going to read the elite prompt engineering skill first. It's going to read all of it. It's going to go through it. It's going to understand the context. And then what it's going to do is it's going to check the script skill, because we have a script. I have a script skill personally. So it's going to actually combine skills here. Not only is it going to use the elite prompt engineering skill, it's going to also use the script skill. And then it's also checking Anthropic's own prompting docs to make sure we're pulling from the best practices. So it's really a triple whammy. It's using my context, Anthropic context. It won't always do this third step. I think probably because I'm using Anthropic and I'm using a skill and I'm making a video about Anthropic skills, it's probably going that extra layer. However, this is the beauty of Claude. It can basically use context and decide, do I need more? Do I need less? And essentially what it's going to do is it's going to create our skill for us. So it says, great, have everything I need. Let me build this prompt for you using the full 10-step framework by both your skill formula and the latest Anthropic prompting best practices. So the idea here is that it's going to take all of this context and it's going to output the prompt for me. And so basically what I would do is, in a real example, let's say I need to create a presentation, or I need to do some research on a client or a prospect. I can say, use the prompt engineering skill to help me create a prompt so that I can fully research, insert client name to the fullest of my ability. And you'll see here, I mean, look at this prompt. This is actually insane. I mean, I would have done a prompt that was like 2 paragraphs. Look at the context here. Look at the details, guys. I mean, this is absolutely unreal. The output that I will get from this, I cannot stress to you the difference in your AI output depending on the quality of your prompting and your skills. It will make all of the difference in the world. It will take someone from saying, yeah, AI is okay, it does some good stuff, to, oh my gosh, this is absolutely mind-blowing. I cannot believe that this is that effective. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding right there. Unless you write prompts like this is something that I think you're going to want to check out. So another skill that is really cool is the presentation skill. I use this religiously. So I just had a huge presentation to a client. It's actually the one where I closed a big deal on it. And I essentially just said, hey, can you use the presentation skill to create the PowerPoint skill, which is already built into Claude, by the way. And I gave it a ton of context. I had documentation and I had call recordings. And I essentially just said, hey, can you analyze my call recordings, analyze this documentation, and then create a presentation so that I can send it to them as a proposal? And I had to redact some of the information here, but you can basically see, I mean, this is just absolutely insane, the type of content that it comes out with. I mean, this is seriously incredible. So with that, I mean, I'm able to create incredibly high quality presentations that I can walk through on an entire sales call that I didn't even generate any of it. I mean, I generated the thought process and the theory behind it, but I let Claude do its work, do its magic, and it was able to spit out all of this. I mean, guys, this would have taken me a week to build this presentation. Instead, it probably took an hour. The real magic is in the thinking behind the presentation, not even necessarily the building of the presentation. Once again, just completely eliminating the need to get caught up in the details of hiring someone, paying a ton of money, or spending a ton of time on it. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I need to be using Claude skills. My guess is that you do as well. So there is another interesting thing that I'm doing on LinkedIn where I'm basically creating selfie style content, or not selfie, like images of myself attached to a photo or attached to a LinkedIn post. And the value of this and why this is really cool, and what I do here is I use one of these, I can't remember which one. But basically, I was having a lot of trouble having Gemini recreate my own face. Let's see if I can show you guys some of these custom images of Sam. So this is one of my skills. Yeah, exactly. So like this was a podcast basically that I had done. And I found inspiration from Diary of a CEO. And I basically recreated myself in it. I mean, how cool is that? That's absolutely insane. And I did that through the power of Claude skills combined with Gemini. And this is why, I don't believe in just using one model, because I do think they work really well together. And this is a really, really good example. So instead of just, going for the singular route, basically combine both of these and was able to get some really nice output. This post performed really, really well. And I mean, it's honestly just incredible what some of these tools can do. So I'm trying to think if there's any others that would be really valuable for you. I mean, the thing is, it's whatever your workflow is, if you have something that you do a lot, you just create a skill out of it so you never have to repeat it. And all you have to do, like I did in here, is say, can you use the insert skill to give me insert output that you want? And that's literally all that it takes. I mean, it is as simple as that. So Claude skills are arguably, in my opinion, the most powerful thing that has ever come out of AI yet, because I can use it over and over again. And even better, if you're connected to tools, for example, you can see all of these tools that I'm connected to. I can say, hey, review granola, so that you can see a transcript of my latest call, and then use the insert skill to give me the output that I need. And it's truly as simple as that, guys. Skills are powerful. I'm going to include actually my Nano Banana prompt skill in the description. So if you'd like to get that, you can click the link. It's completely free. You don't even have to put in your email address. Go there, check it out, and then you can create images for yourself. If you have questions about a specific skill that you would like to create, I would definitely be happy to answer those inside. So just leave a comment. Let me know, what kind of skill do you want? What do you need it to do? What are you struggling with? What are you spending too much time on? Let's see if we can create a skill together. For decades, the equation was simple. Do you need content? Hire someone to make it. Need more content? Hire more people. Your output was directly proportional to your headcount and ultimately your budget. But that equation's breaking now, and as a single person with the right AI setup, you can outproduce a team of 5 freelancers in both speed and volume, and not even have to. You don't even have to compromise in quality. It's actual production-ready output. So the businesses that figured this out first are going to have an absolutely insane advantage. They will move faster, they will spend less, they will iterate more, while their competitors are waiting a week for a proposal deck. And they'll have sent 3 versions and already be to the next deal. So skills are the unlock that make this repeatable. You're not relying on one great prompt. You're building systems that produce consistent high-quality output every single time, and you can keep building more of them. So my challenge to you is this. Think about the content or workflows that you repeat the most often in your business, the stuff you use every day and every week. Ask yourself, could a skill do this? And I guarantee the answer is yes to at least 3 or 4 of those things. Once you build those skills, you will never go back. I'm telling you, this will change everything for you. So in this video, I really just wanted to show you how to use these skills to produce content or workflows that would cost tens of thousands of dollars or hours, a month, and a year. But content is really only half the equation. The other half is knowing what to create and how to use it to actually grow a business. So click the video that's popping up here, because I'm using AI to run an entire business operation within a tiny team, including the exact workflows, the tools, and the strategy behind it. And I will see you there. Every week, you are losing at least 15 to 20 hours sorting through your inbox, prepping for calls, pulling reports, and organizing information that simply does not require a human in 2026. As a matter of fact, Claude Cowork can now automate all of it. The best part is it requires 0 code and maybe an hour max of setup. I actually built a system that handles all of this for me automatically every single morning. And in this video, I'm going to show you what that output looks like. So I am going to build that system live from scratch. No code, no developers, no tools, just a chat window. Then I'm going to show you how people are charging businesses anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 to set up systems exactly like this, because they are that valuable. So whether you want to get your own time back for your business, turn this into a service you sell, this is the video for you. If you ever tried to automate something in your business, you've probably used tools like Zapier, Make, maybe N8N, and these are great for simple automations. You can say, if this happens, do that. It's very straightforward. But the second your workflow gets even a little bit complex, that's when things start breaking. So maybe an email comes in with the format you did not expect. A field is empty where it shouldn't be. A file is in the wrong format. And the whole thing just stops. It sits there broken, waiting for you to come in and fix it manually. I would know. I've done this a million times. I deal with this every single day. And the frustrating part is you end up spending almost as much time babysitting your automations as you would have spent on just doing the work yourself. And so that's the ceiling of traditional automation. It can only handle what you explicitly told it to handle. Everything else is basically a dead end. Where agentic workflows are fundamentally different. Instead of mapping out every single possible path in advance, you describe the outcome you want and the agent figures out how to get there. When it hits something unexpected, it doesn't just stop or break, it adapts. It tries a different approach, and if it finds a problem, it can fix its own process so that that issue never happens again. But here's the key thing. That adaptability happens while you are building and testing the system. Once it is battle tested and scheduled, it can run predictably, like a traditional automation, but one where every edge case has already been solved by the agent during the setup. And this is the big difference. Up until now, building these required Claude code, which is a command line tool, incredible for developers, but if you're not comfortable in a terminal, it's basically a non-starter. Claude Cowork is the exact same engine, same power. The difference is it runs in a chat window on your desktop. So there is no terminal, there's no code. You can connect it to your Gmail with a click, connect it to your calendar, your Slack, and you're off to building. It's literally as simple as that. Okay, so here we are in Claude Cowork. If you're not familiar, the interface is very similar to how regular Claude is. At the top, you'll see you have your chat sidebar. That's just typical Claude. On the right, you have code. We're not going to worry about that for this specific video. But the cool thing about Cowork is that, like I was explaining, you can set up automated tasks, you can run tasks live. It really is adjustable to whatever your workflow is and whatever you need. What do I have on my to-do list? This has been a lifesaver for me. I mean, it's tremendously helpful. But what I really want to focus on in this video is repeatable tasks that you're doing daily that's annoying. Maybe you do it multiple times a week. And for me, something I have to do every single day is set up a daily brief for myself. I have to go through, write everything that's on my list. What am I missing? Who do I need to reply to? Who's waiting on a message from me? And that is where the scheduled tasks come in. So there's some really cool features here. When you go to the scheduled task, right now, the only one I'm running is the daily briefing. But if you click new task, it's really quite simple. And I'm going to go through some best practices here shortly. But you just name the task that you want it to do. Maybe it's search Slack every hour or search your email every day or whatever it might be. You want to just give a brief description of it, but then the prompt is where the magic happens. If you nail this prompt, the output is going to be really good. If you don't nail the prompt, it's not going to work. You can do it you can have it run manually. So you can create a task and you can initiate when it runs. You can have it run hourly. You can have it run daily. You can have it run weekdays, weekly, whatever your optimal preference are. And you can select folders inside of your computer to work in. You can choose the default model. I always go with Opus, but that's totally your choice. And so for me, where I'm really using this is my daily briefing. So I want to take you into this. You can see it's running every single day. A couple of days it's skipped. It doesn't run if the app is not open on your computer. It has to be open in order for it to actually run. Very simple, daily briefing. Excuse me. Update me on everything needed for a great day of productivity. But that's not enough. The magic happens with the system prompt. So my business is called Integrate. I integrate AI into businesses. And the prompt, you're my chief of staff at Integrate, a boutique AI automation consultancy. It's really not automation. It's really just more so building custom AI software. That's not relevant. But anyways, scan all my channels and give me a briefing I can act on in under 5 minutes. Check the last 24 hours across these channels because these are the ones I'm active in. Notion's another one that I use a ton. And I put Google Calendar here, but to be honest with you, I don't really use Google Calendar. I actually use Notion Calendar. But regardless, you can put in whatever your tools are that you use. I give it context on my business. This is important. Cowork does not share context with Claude Chat. Hopefully they update that, and it will. But you have to assume that it doesn't know anything about you. So I just basically put in, here's what I'm doing. Here's some of my clients. Here's my side projects. And that way it has some context about me. I have different deals that I am working through at any given time. Just once again, it's updated context. But really where it gets good is the output structure. So the briefing has 2 layers. Layer 1 is the dashboard. It must fit in under 20 lines. If you don't constrain AI, then it's not going to give you very good output. So you must constrain it and have it work within a set of boundaries. But layer 2 is the detail. I scroll into it only when I need to act on something. So layer 1 with the dashboard, a pipeline snapshot, a table of active deals and retainers, 1 row per deal, no descriptions, just status. Client status value, this is the structure that I wanted in. And if nothing changed on a deal within 24 hours, right, no movement. But how about today at a glance? Calendar, list my meetings and what time, update me on anything that's waiting on me, messages needing a response, emails, Slack messages, and what are new opportunities? Is there something in Upwork? Is there a lead that came in through email? What are my priorities? So I have it rank my priorities. 1, 2, 3, why it's due today, and the time estimate that it's going to take. Now, something else is the detail. Because it's obviously we have the dashboard, we have the overview, but what about the actual detail layer? Well, this is really where the value is, in my opinion. So what are the messages that need response? Group it by client and prospect first, then team, and then other. So if it doesn't fit into any of these categories, let's put it into the other category. For any new inbound leads or warm intros from the past 24 hours, source and context, fit assessment, are they a strong assessment, weak assessment, recommended next steps, draft the outreach. I mean, this is like literally my chief of staff. This is what a chief of staff would do. Commitments. Did I make any promises, deadlines, deliverables committed to yesterday that needs to get done today? If so, what was the commitment? Who was the commitment to? And what was the deadline? If none, you can skip this entirely. I have my formatting rules, which I highly recommend that you do this. And then this is actually not relevant. I shouldn't have added this. And this is another thing. You got to check your prompts to make sure that everything's relevant. Run this daily. I can do more options. Obviously, I'm using Opus, and we're just going to save it here. So what it's going to do is every single day, it's going to run, and it's going to basically give me an update for what it is that I'm looking at. This has been such a game changer for me because I no longer have to scramble every single day. Oh my gosh, who is that person I was talking to yesterday? What's that deliverable I have for that client today? It's all here. It's in a plain markdown text. I can download the file if I want to, put it into Claude and chat with it about it. It's basically creating my to-do list every single day, and it's just incredibly powerful. And so that's a brief overview of Cowork. Now, I have other videos going much deeper if you want to get into the weeds with it and really try to master it. But for those of you just getting started, hopefully this video was helpful. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, be sure to do so. It's all about technology for people that are not engineers. And I will see you guys in the next video. I'm about to show you the secrets to a tool that caused trillions of dollars worth of carnage, Claude Cowork. It's not a chatbot. It's not for writing and copying, pasting text. This requires no coding, no technical skills. It's an agentic tool that actually does work for you. You give it a task, you point it at files on your computer, and it gets it done. Maybe it creates a spreadsheet. Maybe it generates a report from the data that you have in those files. So here we are inside of Claude Cowork, and you'll see the interface looks very similar to Claude in general. The difference is this is agentic, so it's actually going to take actions on your behalf. And so what I did was I created several different documents, several different folders with synthetic information inside of them so I can show you how this tool works. And very quickly, I want to show you what those documents, folders, and files actually look like. So these are the folders, files, and documents that I created to walk you through this example. This is, we have 5 different demos that we're going to run through in this video. This is demo 1. Get a look at how messy this is and just how overwhelming this is. I don't know about you, but when I see something messy like this, I just tune out. I don't want anything to do with it. Moving on to the next one, we have a messy CSV file that we want to clean. The next one, we have a research report, and we have different types of files, CSV files, text files, markdown files, etc. Demo number 4 is we have a presentation that we need to build in Claude Cowork. And demo number 5 is we have different types of tasks that we want to run in parallel. So these all have different use cases, but I think that this is going to show you the full scope of how Claude Cowork works and how you can actually get the most out of it. So we are going to work with folder number 1 first. And so the prompt that I'm going to put in is organize everything in this folder, Create subfolders by file type and month. Rename files to be more descriptive based on their content. Do not delete anything. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to choose the folder with the data. I'm calling it YouTube data because this is a YouTube video. And we're going to work in the messy downloads folder. Once again, you can see the examples of all the file types in here and just how chaotic and just unstructured it actually is. So we're going to go ahead and open this up. And then we're going to let Claude Cowork go to work. And what you'll see is initially what's going to happen is it's going to start thinking and it's going to start kind of walking you through its thought process. So the first thing it's going to do is look at the files in there. Now let me read the contents of each file to understand what they contain so I can give them descriptive names. It's going to read all of those text files and it's going to run through there. It's going to show the different files in the top right-hand corner that it's working with. And so you can kind of follow along as Claude Cowork is actually doing all of this work on your computer. Now, I'm going to briefly pause this video while it works through this. These tasks will take anywhere from 60 seconds to 10 minutes, just depending on the scope and complexity. And I'll unpause this as soon as it's done. Now, while Claude is working in the background, why is this important? Why does Cowork matter? What's different from it than traditional LLMs? The difference is instead of you having to actually think of something, go do it, get it done, taking time, now you can simply prompt it into being done. And if you extrapolate this out, you can see where this is going, right? We're talking full teams with agents that are running the majority of tasks. If these agents are able to parse all of my data and they can organize it appropriately, if they can create tasks in parallel and do multiple things at once with different types of data inside of a folder, if they can create presentations and PowerPoints out of the data that I have sitting there, the work that I have to do is transforming from having to just hammer away at a PowerPoint or organize just kind of things that are not really needle moving but important to work that is I can prompt on the menial task, and I can basically focus on the actual needle moving activity. So not only is this going to free up a tremendous amount of time, but it's going to free up a lot of mental bandwidth too. Just little tedious things that you don't want to do, you no longer have to do because of Claude Cowork. So let's check back in on Claude and let's see how it's doing. So, okay, we got some progress here. Okay, so I asked it to organize everything. It says, let me start by looking at what's in your folder. Now let me read the contents of each file to understand what they contain so I can give them descriptive names. Good. I've read all 26 files. Most content dates to October 2025 with a couple of undated items. You can basically see its thinking process. All files moved. Let me clean up any empty, undated folders. All 26 files accounted for. All done. Here is your file structure. And you can see the way that they labeled it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the previous version so that we can look and see what we had there. That's the wrong tool, Google Chrome. Okay, great. So yeah, this was what the original file looks like, okay? So it was messy, there's documents everywhere, it's ugly. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to pull a screenshot of what it looks like. This is unbelievable. Okay, so the way that it organized this, I just wouldn't have been able to do this near as well. There's literally no way. It's incredibly impressive. Okay, so just kind of breaking this down and looking at it. This is what we had before. This is what we have now. Look how much more organized and clean this is. I mean, it's literally a night and day difference. If we keep going, you know, I could make an example out of all these, but basically each of these, you click into them, they're incredibly organized, incredibly structured. They're labeled correctly. Now it's easy for me to navigate and easy for me to get to. To do this myself, I mean, it would minimum of 30 minutes it probably would have taken. So that's great, but let's check back in on Claude and see some of the other tasks that it's running to get an understanding of, is it still able to move the needle? Is it still able to actually get the work done? So let me drag this in here. We'll close the sidebar so we can get a big view. All right, so this one, I said, read all files in this folder and produce a professional report as a Word document, including an executive summary, key findings, blah, blah, blah. You can see in the top right-hand corner the different things that I asked it to report, all different types of documents from Markdown files to CSV files to text files. And then it starts going to work. Good, it's installed. Validation errors. It came across some errors. It fixed the errors. Now it says the document looks great. The report synthesizes all 5 source files into a structured document with a title page, table of contents, executive summary, etc. So when I click on that, I'll get myself out of the way here as this loads. What we should see here is a document that is essentially well organized and structured in the way that we want it. So here it is. We go look through it. Surely, yep, looking good. Looking a lot better than it was before, I'll tell you that. So here's another example of taking all this data and essentially turning it into an organized document structure. Now let's keep going because there's a couple other ones that I wanted to do. So in this example, I have run these 3 tasks in parallel, from sales data, regional CSV to summary spreadsheet, from a client meeting notes, from the 3 competitor research files, basically just throwing a bunch of different files at it, as you can see in the top right-hand corner. It says, I'll get started right away. Let me check the available files and read the relevant skill documentation, then run all 3 tasks in parallel. So it just breaks down essentially how it's going to go about the work, and then it says all 3 tasks are done and verified. Here's what was created. So as an example, the first thing I asked was, run these 3 tasks in parallel. Create a spreadsheet summary with totals by region and by month. So let's see what we got here. Allow this, and then let me refresh this. All right, so just checking in on the before and after of the parallel task. We have what was before, a bunch of basically text and meeting notes. Now what we have is documents, CSV files, and spreadsheets according to the task that we asked it to do. So it labeled it correctly, it created the new types of files, and to me, this is incredibly impressive. All right, so we have another task here. Using the notes and data in this folder, create a 12-slide quarterly business review presentation as a PowerPoint file. Follow the guidance style and speaker text notes, 1 headline insight per page, just basically giving it some details about how we want to actually build these presentations out. And so you'll see it essentially reads the skills, it looks at the data, it builds it into a presentation. I'll apply all the fixes now. The key issues are blank, blank, blank. Now it fixes it on its own. So it identifies issues, fixes the issues on its own, continues to just iterate, fix, rebuild slides. And you can see it's literally working through all of this. And then at the end, what we have is a presentation, and it says the exact slides, what's in them. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, guys, so this is what we have. And keep in mind, this is from literally the files that it was working with was a text file, a PDF file, just basically a CSV file. And that's pretty much it, actually. Now, this is insane. I mean, look what it created from those files. It's got basically everything. I mean, it looks amazing. It looks beautiful. It's well crafted. It basically extrapolated all this info and created graphics for each of them and created this beautiful presentation. So you can imagine the power of a tool like this. As long as you have the data in your computer, Claude Cowork can help you churn out some incredible, incredible work. I mean, to me, if you had shown me this a year ago, my jaw would have been on the floor. It's absolutely insane how far we've come. Now, we still have a couple more examples to walk through. So let's go ahead and see what Claude is up to and if it has finished the rest of its work. So we jump back into Claude here. Read all 5 files in this folder and produce a professional report as a Word document. Include executive summary, key findings, and I mean, yeah, pretty straightforward here. This one's a pretty easy one. It's basically just extracting the data and turning it into a file. Probably don't need to dive into that too much. Here's the other one that I wanted to do. So clean up the raw CSV in this folder. Standardize all dates, telling it exactly how we want the dates, format, fix obvious company name typos, remove duplicate rows, etc. And just giving it as much detail as possible. As you probably know, the art of using AI is the art of communication. You need to learn how to communicate and prompt well. You prompt almost like you're working with an assistant, someone that is new to the business, doesn't know everything, and you have to over-explain. If you can prompt like that, you can get really good results. So, basically you can see here, it sees all 61 rows of messy data. Let me set up the to-do list and get to work. Now let me build the full Python script. This data has several issues to fix: inconsistent date formats, company name typos, missing categories, duplicates, $signs, comma inconsistencies, and amounts. CSV has, the CSV fields with comment inside, quotes that are tripping up the parser. So it's recognizing errors as it goes. And then it's going to say, hey, this is what we fixed. This is what we didn't fix. Probably going to have to open this outside of Claude. Yeah, a lot of times with documents like this, you'll have to open it outside of Claude. So let me just pull that up and I'll put it into our document. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. I mean, this is unbelievable. From the data that it had to turn it into this, I mean, it would have taken me forever to actually do this. You can see it's color-coded the amounts. It has the payment method. It has the vendors with the correct spelling. It has the dates labeled exactly as I want it to. And it also even has the different notes for each expense. So just, again, another insane example. I mean, if we just go back to the top and just look at this, from this messy folder to organized and clean and streamlined, from messy data to spreadsheets, and so on and so forth, PowerPoints, etc. Guys, the future of work is agentic solutions. And if this video doesn't show you a glimpse, and by the way, this is like the Atari version of AI agents, because, I mean, basically 2025 was the first year for AI agents, but really 2026 is the real first year for AI agents. So hopefully the Claude masterclass was as helpful to you as it was to me. My goal is that now you should be able to go into Claude and essentially use all of these tools in your business, in your job, or just in your regular life. Now, if you have a question, please leave a comment. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. My entire channel is dedicated to helping break down AI for people that might not be engineers or technical in the first place. If you have a business and you want to figure out how AI can be implemented into it, you can click the link in the description. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you get the most use out of Claude ever. It is helping me so much in my life. I so appreciate your time, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.